The insidious poison that demolishes great men. She may not resort to overt acts of aggression like screaming or physical violence. She might not even engage in obvious infidelity. Yet, despite the absence of these clear transgressions, you find your very essence slowly withering away. Your innate drive and ambition gradually dissipate, and the vibrant fire that once fueled your spirit dwindles into nothingness. You become a mere shadow, a hollowed-out imitation of the formidable man you once were. This profound decline isn't a consequence of her overt actions. Instead, it stems from the insidious ways she withholds affection and support, subtly twists your perceptions of reality, and relentlessly erodes your self-worth and confidence. We're not discussing a merely bad wife here, someone who might be imperfect or challenging. This is a truly evil wife. Her actions, while often covert, are deliberately designed to inflict deep and lasting damage. Unless you cultivate the acute awareness to recognize these deeply unsettling signs before they become irrevocably ingrained, you stand to lose far more than just your marriage. You risk the complete forfeiture of your very identity, the core of who you are as a man. In this comprehensive guide, we will meticulously unveil the 10 most destructive indicators of an evil wife. We'll delve into the subtle yet potent forms of psychological warfare she employs, tactics so insidious they can systematically weaken and ultimately dismantle even the most resilient and formidable men. Sign 1, she craves dominance, not collaboration. An evil wife harbors no genuine desire to journey through life as your equal partner, walking alongside you. Her true aspiration is to assert absolute superiority, to metaphorically walk over you, and dictate the terms of your shared existence. Her entire approach to the relationship is a calculated game of control. Genuine harmony, mutual respect, and collaborative teamwork hold no value for her. Her singular objective is to accumulate leverage, to gain an advantage over you that she can exploit at will. You will consistently observe her pushing back against every boundary you attempt to establish, no matter how reasonable. She will challenge virtually every decision you make, regardless of its merit. She categorically refuses to grant you the final say on any matter, undermining your authority at every turn. If you dare to assert yourself, even in the most measured way, she will retaliate with predictable and chilling precision, often through emotional coldness, deliberate withdrawal of affection, or by masterfully inducing guilt. She is a skilled practitioner of weaponized affection. Intimacy, once a spontaneous expression of love, becomes a transactional tool she wields to gain compliance. Silence, rather than a moment for reflection, transforms into a potent form of punishment. Praise, when it's offered at all, becomes strictly conditional. A reward contingent on your submission to her will. To the outside world, she may present herself as the epitome of a cooperative and supportive partner, a true team player. However, within the confines of your home, she meticulously orchestrates a tyrannical regime where only her emotions, her opinions, and her desires hold any weight or significance. Should you dare to resist her pervasive influence, you are immediately branded as controlling or domineering. Conversely, if you succumb to her demands and comply with her every whim, she subtly, or not so subtly, loses respect for you, viewing your compliance as a sign of weakness. This deeply unhealthy dynamic is not a random occurrence or a misunderstanding. It is a deliberate, slow-burn strategy meticulously designed to position herself at the absolute center of your universe, effectively reducing you to nothing more than an orbiting satellite, existing solely to serve her needs. Tactical response. Initiate micro-leadership decisions. Start by making small, clear decisions independently and observe her reactions. This is about re-establishing your capacity for leadership, even on a minor scale. Refuse to constantly justify yourself. You are an autonomous adult. You do not owe her an exhaustive explanation or defense for every action you take or decision you make. Systematically track her reactions to your authority. Pay close attention to her responses, both verbal and nonverbal, when you assert your will or make independent choices. This will provide valuable data on her resistance to your leadership. A genuinely good woman inherently values and supports your leadership. An evil one, however, secretly fears it and will consistently, albeit subtly, conspire to sabotage it. Sign 2, she systematically erodes your essence. There was a time when you were brimming with passion, driven by a clear sense of purpose, and undeniably alive. Now, you find yourself adrift in a fog of confusion, perpetually cautious, and riddled with self-doubt. This isn't merely the natural progression of aging or life's challenges. This is a calculated and deliberate erosion of your very being. Evil wives do not typically resort to overt, brute force attacks. Instead, they dismantle your masculinity with insidious whispers, with dismissive rolled eyes, and with a constant barrage of passive ridicule. They will routinely mock your interests, making you feel foolish for pursuing what brings you joy. They will laugh at your ideas, no matter how insightful or innovative. They will contemptuously dismiss your passions, making you question their worth. Over time, you will instinctively begin to abandon the very activities and pursuits that once defined you, simply to avoid the stinging sting of her scorn and disapproval. You lose your internal fire because your independence poses a profound threat to her. A man who is fully self-expressed, who lives authentically and follows his own convictions, cannot be easily controlled. Therefore, she will subtly but persistently trim your wings, little by little, until you completely forget that you were ever meant to soar freely. You'll hear her utter phrases designed to belittle and diminish you, such as, "Why are you wasting your time on that trivial pursuit? You take this stuff way too seriously, lighten up. You used to be so much fun, what on earth happened to you?" Her ultimate objective is to meticulously strip away any aspect of your identity that isn't entirely centered around her. She seeks to become the sole axis around which your world revolves. Tactical response. Re-engage with your former self, actively reconnect with old hobbies that brought you joy, re-establish contact with friends who celebrated your true self, and revisit goals and aspirations you once held dear. Journal your core values and memories of your past self. This practice helps you articulate and solidify your true identity, making it more resilient to her attempts at distortion. Observe her reactions when you reassert your independence, pay close attention to her emotional responses and behaviors when you make choices that are not centered on her. True evil does not always manifest in destructive fire. Sometimes, it insidiously smothers the flame of your spirit until it slowly dies from a profound lack of oxygen. Sign 3, she harbors a secret resentment towards your masculinity. Initially, she may have been undeniably captivated by your strength, your unshakable confidence, and your ambitious drive. These very qualities likely drew her to you. But now, she brazenly mocks it, actively undermines it, and openly feels threatened by it. Evil wives, despite any initial attraction to masculine qualities, ultimately desire a safe man, one who poses no challenge to her control, rather than a truly strong and self-assured one. They crave a man they can easily manipulate and dominate, not a man who is naturally dominant in his own right. If you express healthy assertiveness, you are immediately accused of being arrogant or overbearing. If you pursue professional success or personal growth, she will accuse you of neglecting her or the family. If you manage to remain composed and level-headed under pressure, she will dismiss you as emotionally unavailable or cold. Yet, here lies the cruel twist. She will beg for your softness and emotional vulnerability, only to openly resent you the moment you genuinely offer it. She will demand your leadership and initiative, then swiftly punish you for actually taking the lead, making you regret your actions. This perplexing behavior is not born of confusion or misunderstanding. It is a calculated and deliberate form of psychological sabotage. Deep within her, she harbors a simmering rage at your inherent strength and masculine essence. Her ultimate goal is to subtly neuter it, often under the disingenuous guise of striving for equality or a deeper emotional closeness. Tactical response. Maintain an unshakable stoicism. Let your consistent actions and unwavering principles speak volumes, far louder than her incessant criticisms or baseless accusations. Never, under any circumstances, apologize for healthy masculinity. Your strength, drive, and protective instincts are not flaws to be excused, they are integral parts of your being. Focus on her reactions to your strength, not just her words. Observe how she behaves when you embody masculine strength, rather than simply listening to her manipulative rhetoric about it. Your inherent masculinity is not the root of the problem. Her deep-seated resentment of it is the true issue at hand. Sign 4, she is a masterful victim player. In her narrative, she is perpetually blameless. She is never at fault, never responsible for any negative outcome, and absolutely never wrong. Every single disagreement, no matter how minor, swiftly escalates into a dramatic and exhausting performance. She will cry copious tears, feign emotional collapse, and deliberately create an atmosphere of chaos and emotional upheaval. Suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, you are transformed into the aggressor, the villain, the unloving monster who makes her feel unsafe or abuses her emotionally. This is not a demonstration of genuine emotional sensitivity. It is a chillingly effective form of emotional manipulation. Evil wives expertly weaponize vulnerability. They adopt the guise of a damsel in distress, not to invite genuine support or understanding, but as a cunning tactic to completely avoid accountability for their own actions. They skillfully pivot every argument, no matter how logical, into an urgent rescue mission centered around their fragile emotions. Consequently, instead of collaboratively working to resolve the actual issue at hand, you find yourself perpetually engaged in the exhausting task of soothing her manufactured feelings. Instead of your valid concerns being heard and addressed, you are silenced and incapacitated by her well-timed tears and emotional theatrics. Even more disturbingly, she may begin to strategically disseminate stories to external parties, friends, family, or even strangers, portraying you as distant, cold, or even outright abusive, while simultaneously painting herself as the noble, long-suffering wife who is merely doing her best under impossible circumstances. Tactical response. Refuse to engage in her emotional theatrics. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into her dramatic performances. Maintain your composure and do not react to her manufactured crises. Keep your communication clear, concise, and factual. Stick to the verifiable facts of the situation. Avoid emotional language or justifications. Objectively observe if conflict resolution invariably ends with you being designated as the bad guy. If every disagreement concludes with you shouldering all the blame, it's a clear indicator of her manipulative pattern. True evil doesn't always manifest in loud screams. Sometimes it subtly whispers, "Poor me," drawing sympathy while inflicting harm. Sign 5, she seeks to possess your time, not just your love. She may profess her love for you with eloquent words. However, her true underlying desire is a deep-seated need for ownership of your very existence. Evil wives do not genuinely seek an equitable partnership. Their true objective is absolute possession. They will meticulously monitor your time, scrutinizing your every minute. They will mercilessly guilt-trip you for working late or pursuing your career aspirations. They will become palpably moody and resentful when you spend time with your male friends or engage in social activities without her. They will express disdain for your personal hobbies and interests unless she is directly included in them, effectively making them her activities. Her objective is to completely consume your attention, to become the singular and exclusive source of your joy, your obligations, and your entire focus. This all-encompassing need is not an expression of healthy love. It is a form of emotional colonization, an insidious attempt to seize control of your inner and outer worlds. She profoundly fears your independence because it directly threatens her iron grip on you. The more you diligently build your own life, pursue your own passions, and cultivate your own world, the more she secretly fears that you will eventually realize you don't actually need hers. Tactical response. Establish strict and non-negotiable time boundaries, clearly define periods for work, personal interests, and time with friends, and stick to them. Consistently engage in activities without her. This reinforces your independence and demonstrates that your world is not solely defined by her presence. Carefully observe her guilt-based reactions to your solitude. Pay attention to how she attempts to manipulate you into feeling guilty for taking time for yourself. A woman who genuinely loves you will wholeheartedly support your personal mission and growth. A woman who constantly fears losing you will, paradoxically, suffocate your freedom and autonomy. Sign 6, she presents two distinct faces in public and private. To the external world, she is the epitome of charm, constantly smiling, outwardly supportive, and often perceived as almost saintly in her demeanor. However, behind the closed doors of your home, the mask drops. She reveals her true self, cold, harsh, manipulative, and often outright cruel. Evil wives possess an innate understanding of the profound power of appearances. They meticulously manage how they are perceived by others, carefully curating a facade of virtue, while simultaneously unleashing their darkest, most destructive traits when no one outside the relationship is observing. This dual existence is arguably the most psychologically destabilizing tactic she employs. It creates a vast and unsettling chasm between your lived reality and the perception others hold of your relationship. And you, the man trapped within this twisted dynamic, privy to her true nature, are made to appear delusional or even crazy if you dare to voice your complaints or reveal her true character. No one on the outside genuinely believes you. No one sees the chilling reality that you endure. And this disorienting dynamic is entirely by her design. Tactical response. Document patterns of her behavior without emotion, keep a factual record of specific incidents, dates, and what was said or done. This creates an objective account. Protect your credibility silently, avoid emotional outbursts or dramatic accusations that could be easily dismissed. Focus on maintaining your own integrity and composure. Avoid emotional confrontations in public. This allows her to maintain her facade and makes it harder for her to manipulate external perceptions. Maintain your dignity and focus on the truth, even if it's not immediately seen. Never underestimate the insidious nature of evil meticulously masked in an outward show of virtue. Sign 7, she perpetually avoids accountability, without exception. She could lie, cheat, hurl insults, or actively sabotage your efforts, and still ingeniously discover a way to shift the blame entirely onto you. Evil wives are unparalleled masters of projection. They possess an absolute inability to admit fault, no matter how egregious their actions. Instead, they will relentlessly twist narratives, distort objective facts, and expertly weaponize emotions to evade any form of responsibility. When you raise a legitimate concern or grievance, she immediately transforms it into a personal attack on her character. When you respectfully ask for consideration or respect, she quickly accuses you of being controlling or demanding. Nothing is ever her responsibility. Even when she grudgingly offers an apology, it is invariably passive, conditional, or manipulative in its phrasing. "I'm sorry you feel that way," implying your feelings are the problem, not her actions. "I'm sorry, but if you hadn't," immediately shifting blame back onto you. You often find yourself apologizing simply to restore a semblance of peace, even when you are unequivocally not in the wrong. Over time, this deeply corrosive dynamic inexorably breaks a man's spirit, leaving him demoralized and defeated. Tactical response. Cease seeking fairness or justice from someone allergic to truth. Understand that her commitment to evading accountability is absolute. Maintain your internal clarity and integrity, hold steadfastly to your own perception of reality and your moral compass, regardless of her distortions. Don't argue, instead, take decisive action. Debating with her is futile. When faced with her lack of accountability, focus on protecting yourself through your actions rather than engaging in endless, circular arguments. If she fundamentally refuses to take accountability for her actions, your only remaining responsibility is to protect your own peace and well-being. Sign 8, she competes with you, rather than supporting you. A truly healthy and supportive wife genuinely celebrates your growth, your successes, and your personal evolution. An evil wife, however, actively competes with it, viewing your progress as a personal threat. She harbors a deep-seated envy of your success, secretly resents your ambition, and consistently downplays your achievements and victories. Every time you experience an uplift or a triumph, she will subtly but persistently attempt to pull you back down, often through passive-aggressive comments or veiled criticisms. It must be wonderful having all that free time to chase your selfish dreams. You're utterly obsessed with work, clearly, you don't care about this family at all. She possesses no genuine desire to be your supportive partner. Her true aim is to be your rival. This isn't because you have inherently done something wrong. It is because your light, your achievements, and your strength inadvertently expose her own deep-seated insecurities and inner shadows. Tactical response. Guard your vision and aspirations fiercely, do not seek validation or approval from her for your goals. Your internal drive should be sufficient. Objectively observe whether your successes elicit genuine celebration or silent tension, her true feelings will be revealed in her reactions. Understand the fundamental difference: a queen builds an empire alongside her king, striving for shared success. A rival, however, competes fiercely, seeking to usurp the crown and wear it herself. Sign 9, she wields intimacy as a weapon of punishment. She doesn't merely decline intimacy, she deliberately uses denial as a punitive weapon, inflicting emotional pain and control. Affection is systematically withheld when she is angry or displeased with you, regardless of the cause. Intimacy is only reluctantly offered when she desires something from you, transforming it into a conditional reward. You begin to experience the chilling sensation of constantly bargaining for love and connection, as if every interaction, every display of affection, is a transactional exchange rather than a spontaneous expression of genuine feeling. This is far beyond a simple, dry spell or a temporary lack of desire. This is a deliberate and calculated form of psychological warfare. Sex becomes a powerful form of leverage she holds over you. Physical touch transforms into a reward that must be earned through compliance. Your natural desire for connection becomes a debt you are perpetually obligated to repay. Tactical response. Reclaim your masculine center and self-respect. Do not allow your emotional or physical well-being to be held hostage by her manipulation. Cease negotiating for what should be freely and mutually given. True intimacy is a reciprocal dance, not a contractual obligation. Allow her to earn intimacy through genuine alignment and respectful behavior, not through manipulative tactics. Shift the dynamic from her control to your discernment. Love is never meant to be a contract perpetually written in the chilling ink of fear and manipulation. Sign 10, you feel profoundly less alive, yet cannot articulate why. You continue to perform the basic functions of life: you sleep, you eat, you go through the motions. But deep within your core, you are haunted by an inexplicable numbness. Your once robust confidence has inexplicably faded. Your capacity for joy feels distant, almost a forgotten memory. Your very life force, your intrinsic energy, seems to have completely evaporated. This pervasive sense of lifelessness is the ultimate and most telling sign of an evil wife, the slow, agonizing death of your spirit. You were once a man defined by purpose, drive, and vibrancy. But now, subjected to an unrelenting barrage of emotional strain, perpetual guilt, and suffocating control, you barely recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. You exist in a state of pervasive confusion, relentlessly attempting to please a woman who, by her very nature, cannot be pleased. You desperately chase peace within a war zone that you never initiated and did not choose to enter. Tactical response. Seek profound solitude and listen to your inner voice, disconnect from her influence and reconnect with your authentic self, listening to your own intuition. Actively exit the emotional maze she has constructed, deliberately disengage from her manipulative games and reclaim your mental and emotional peace. Acknowledge the harsh truth: sometimes, the only path to your genuine survival and well-being is to walk away from a relationship that is systematically destroying you. Conclusion: the silent war most men are afraid to speak of. The most perilous adversary is not the one who launches overt attacks against you, easily identifiable and confrontable. It is, chillingly, the one who offers you a kiss while simultaneously administering a slow-acting poison to your very soul. Evil wives are not invariably loud, aggressive, or overtly volatile. They are often subtly insidious, perpetually smiling, and outwardly well-mannered, cultivating an image of impeccable virtue. But beneath that carefully constructed charm lies a destructive force, a pervasive toxicity that systematically erodes masculine vitality and spiritual well-being. You were not brought into this world to be tamed or subjugated. You were not inherently designed to exist in a constant state of fear, shame, or perpetual apology. You were inherently meant to lead, to protect, to build, and to thrive in your own right. Therefore, when you feel that internal fire dimming, when your very soul begins its painful retreat, when your instincts, your deepest, most primal wisdom, whisper to you that something is profoundly wrong, you must listen with every fiber of your being. Do not allow misplaced loyalty to become your self-imposed prison. Do not confuse prolonged endurance of suffering with genuine wisdom. Do not sacrifice your entire future, your true potential, merely to preserve a false mask or a broken facade. Because, sometimes, the single most courageous and self-preserving act a man can undertake is to decisively walk away from the woman who is systematically, albeit slowly, killing him. And never, ever look back.